Welcome back to Advance Wars 2, and I think you all know what time it is. That disproportionately high difficulty level can only mean one thing. Yep, it's time for possibly one of the most infamous missions in the entire campaign. I admit I never found this one quite as tough as most people do, but I will admit it is very, very annoying. As you can see here, it's a timed mission. They kind of cram just about everything that could possibly make this annoying, except for Fog of War. Thank God they didn't put that in. But, yeah, you'll see in a moment. Yeah, this did take me a while to figure it out. I eventually figured out kind of an okay strategy for it, and... I'm sorry, I almost talked over the awesome music. But anyway, you know, it's actually a testimony to how many times I've actually done this that I pretty much know this opening dialogue off by heart by now. Yeah, I do. Yeah, funny, because back when I first played this, I had to do this mission a lot. And as you saw from the opening scroll, not only is it basically a destroy certain number of structures thing, the enemy's going to attack you with bombers, you've only got a pre-deployed force. But guess what? The lab map's here, and it's probably the single most annoyingly hidden lab map in the entire freaking game. Believe me, you'll see once I show you. Yeah, of course they have to put the lab map in the most annoying missions in each batch. But anyway, our commander here is Jess, a new character introduced in this game. Jess is a vehicle specialist, so as you can see here, those are her unit specialties. She's got plus 10, it's only a small boost, it's only 10% offense, but she gets to a pretty wide variety of units. Anti-airs, recons, tanks, rockets, artillery, pretty much everything you see here except for the infantry. And the funny thing about infantry, Jess is quite possibly the only commander in the entire game besides Colin who has weak infantry. Even characters like, well, I mean, Sensei and Sammy have strong infantry, so that's kind of beside the point. But even characters who kind of heavily specialize in one thing, and to the exception of all others, usually most people's infantry are at least average. Jess actually has weak infantry, which is very weird. Not only that, but I believe Dual Strike actually got rid of that, actually made her infantry back to average, because it is very strange for anyone other than Colin to have weak infantry. And as you can see, we're facing Lash here, so we get, it's kind of a nice break to get more comedic dialogue again after Hawk. Again, Hawk is pretty much the one Black Hole commander so far, that we've met so far, who has never played for comedy at all, unlike the others. So we've got Lash again, so finally we've actually got some comedy in the dialogue, which is actually kind of a nice breather after all that completely bleak atmosphere that Hawk gives. And Lash's theme is actually still pretty nice to hear. I do like Lash's theme, I will admit, but anyway, you might notice here that we're capturing a port. You might be wondering, why would I do that? Jess has bad navy. Well, she does, but here we have another one of those, what I like to call necessary evil situations. Despite the fact that her navy is not the best, we actually probably have to use a few battleships of our own here. It's kind of something you can't really avoid, and you generally need at least one. So that is, again, annoying. Now, your main objective here is to sink all of these battleships that are in for repairs before the time limit is up. And in order to do that, what you want to do is, you want to escort your rockets and your artillery. They are extremely important, because they're the only things you have that can do really decent damage to the ships. So you want to escort your rockets and your artillery over to there, but it's not going to be easy. They have mini cannons blocking the way. They have quite a large force with some medium tanks and the like. And you also have to worry about the lab map. Yeah. You might notice I'm going to leave one of my infantry back near the port. There is a very good reason for this, which you'll be seeing. When you find out the actual location they put the lab map in, you will realise just how much of a troll whoever designed this map truly was. Yeah, when you figure this out, you're going to be going, yep, they went there, they really went there. Yeah, this is the part where you realise someone was just evil when they designed this map. Just the lab map. Okay, again, You probably already guessed by now where the lab map is hidden, and yeah, it's really annoying. You see, this map is probably one of the only ones in the game so far where, well, in all the others, your strategy for getting the lab map is really no different from your strategy for actually doing the mission. You can pretty much just... Oh, that's bad. Okay, that was really bad. I let my medium tank get hit before anything else, and it's my only medium tank. Okay, that is pretty bad. I will say here, I actually did not do that well in this mission, but at least I managed to S-rank it, and I pretty much contented myself with that and was fine with it. Again, though... oh, we do have 2 medium tanks. Forgot about that. Anyway... We do have enough funds to pay for repairs, though we will need to get battleships eventually. And as far as repairs also go, we've also got joining. You will need to rely on joining a bit in this mission, probably as well, because you've got kind of a smallish pre-deploy force. And yeah, there's that. So joining. Again, joining is your friend, especially in things like this. In all 3 of these first Green Earth missions, joining's been our friend. Someone pointed out an interesting tactic to me involving joining back in Drake's Dilemma that involves letting his cruisers get missiles and then joining them for massive amounts of funds. I didn't actually think it to do that, but it's actually not a bad idea. It's actually pretty cool. Are you going to survive that, really? Yeah, damn it. Anyway, so, again, back to this mission. Now, like I was saying, in all of the other lab map ones, so you know, Toy Box, not really that bad. You can just produce some infantry and start capturing everything. Showstopper, well, by the time you've got enough of a force to destroy the base, you pretty much definitely have capturing that city covered. This one is the only one, probably, where you have to go really out of your way to get the lab map, and I mean really out of your way. Really, really out of your way. You pretty much have to, not only do you have to basically plan out an entire strategy based around getting the lab map, you have to waste a considerable amount of time, resources, and funds just on getting this lab map. See that city I'm pointing to right there? That's where the lab map is. Yep, they really went there. So normally, you would have absolutely zero use for a land to this mission. Guess what? You're going to have to make one, because if you want that lab map, you're going to have to get your infantry over to that tiny island and capture that one city that you really think would be totally irrelevant. Yep, they went there. Yeah, I wasn't kidding back when I said that, oh great, she's going to repair that, isn't she? I wasn't kidding back when I said that, once you figure out where the lab map is in this mission, you never forget. You really never do, because it's just sheer absolute trollage is really the only way I can describe it. Pure trolling. So, this land is going to have to go at the double towards that island, and so we can just capture it. And, hey, guess what? We don't have enough funds for a battleship now, because we had to waste them on that lander. Yay! I will say, I never really found this mission to be as difficult as... The fandom seems to make it out like this is one of the hardest missions ever, but it's not really hard, just really annoying. There's a lot of stuff you have to do, there's a lot of really annoying factors that you've got to contend with here, and again, overall, feels more irritating than it does hard. I will say that the game really tries to scare you with that 6-star rating. I definitely do not think this is a 6-star mission. 5-star maybe, definitely not 6. Like, honestly, there's no way this is a 6-star mission. And, oh, I'm just going to let one of my other medium tanks get attacked, aren't I? Yeah, I don't think I was playing the best here. It is kind of annoying, though, because that 6-star rating really does freak you out. It's basically designed to intimidate you, and it makes you generally feel like this mission's a lot harder than it actually is. Again, I think it should have been 5 stars, but, yeah. And I think Showstopper probably should have been, at least 5. Probably 5. I don't really think I go so far as to give it a 6. There is a mission later on in the Green Earth campaign that I definitely say the 6 rating is justified. And also in Hard campaign, yeah. The final mission of Orange Star, I believe, has something like a 7 or 8 star difficulty. I think it's actually 8. That's no exaggeration, believe me. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Or we won't get to it, because I don't think I'll be recording that. But believe me, I will have to play through it, because yes, One of the characters that I'm going to have to show off later on requires beating hard campaign, so I'm going to have to do this whole thing again on hard mode. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Actually, hard campaign in general is actually pretty fun, but some of the missions can be pretty ridiculous. I actually forget how this is like on hard mode, but I'm just, okay, I'll talk about that later, but I do know something that I was going to mention on Sea Fortress, but forgot. Sea Fortress is actually kind of different on hard mode. They've actually flipped the layout so that it's laid out vertically rather than horizontally. Oh, great, we've both got our supers at the same time. That's actually pretty cool. But Lash's super doesn't really benefit her that much on this map, really. Yeah, like I was saying before, Fortress did change the layout on hard mode. I never really felt like it was that big of a deal, really. In fact, I probably had an easier time with that one on hard mode than I did on normal. There are one or two missions that I feel are kind of easier on either that, or you've just got more experience from playing all of normal mode, you're now a much better player, and now... I actually found the final mission a lot easier on hard than I did on normal, but that's probably just because I was a much better player by then. But anyway... So, the other thing I was going to talk about with this mission is Lash. Like I was saying, you're facing Lash here. Her super isn't really that big of a benefit on this map because it's mostly just plains. There isn't really that much terrain for her to exploit, really. Really, I think, the main reason why they had you facing Lash in this mission is just so you aren't facing Hawk. Believe me, if you were fighting Hawk for this mission, holy crap, would this mission be absolutely bloody insane. And that would just... yeah. If they gave you Hawk for this, they'd just be sadists, because that'd just be completely stupid. Yeah, having to destroy that many targets with... Yep, I feel pretty confident that I can. Having to destroy that many targets with the effects of his power healing them, yeah... So, yeah, as you can see here, we have a whopping 9 battleships to destroy in 17 turns. That gets kind of annoying, and for that reason, again, you pretty much will need a battleship of your own. Once you get your tanks and artillery in place, things aren't that bad, but, until you do, you got a bit of a rough road. Speaking of road, it's time for Jess's super here. So I guess I should talk about this then. Overdrive! Now, Jess's super is kind of interesting. It increases the movement range of all vehicles by 2 spaces and gives them a firepower boost. You might be thinking, hey, that's actually pretty similar to Max's super, and it's actually is conceptually quite similar. Again though, vehicles means indirects. Now the problem with this is, it's good news and bad news for indirects. The good news is they do get the movement boost so they can get into position faster. The bad news is indirects are move or fire, one of the two. And what that means is that you really only get to benefit from either the movement boost or the firepower boost of the super, not both at once. So that can be annoying. Also, you want to keep your anti-airs alive, just putting this out there, and stay out of range of those mini-cannons. Because Lash is eventually going to send air units your way, and there is absolutely zero way you can stop her from taking that base up there, that airport I mean. So she will send a stream of air units towards you, and that's what you need your anti-airs for. Eventually you will want to take this base here and start producing anti-airs and artillery. I'm going to try and target saturate that artillery so that it won't fire on me, hopefully. Almost there, not quite. We'll be done with that annoying map in a little bit. But yeah, I kind of had a feeling that the lab map would be there, but still, part of me was thinking, nah, the designers couldn't be that evil, could they? I mean, these were the guys who brought us Fire Emblem 5, after all. Especially the last side quest mission in that, which I still haven't beaten. Yeah, Fire Emblem 5 is the only Fire Emblem game I actually rage quitted out of. Still haven't actually beat that game. I honestly don't feel like the game overall is as hard as people give it credit for, but it does have some of the hardest individual chapters in the series at points, especially that one. And recruiting Xavier. Oh god, recruiting Xavier. But hey, this is Advance Wars, not Fire Emblem, so I should stop going off on weird tangents. But anyway, again though, what I am trying to point out is that intelligent systems are capable of feats of incredible evil. Again, as anyone who's played Fire Emblem will know. And, of course, as anyone who's played this game will know too, because they created Showstopper. Yeah! And, of course, they also created sheer evilness in the form of a, well, we'll be getting to that much later. Someone we end up fighting later who is just basically, almost literally evil incarnate. I mean, heck, even their Japanese name as well, I'll just, I'll save that until later, let's just say. But trust me when I say that it's not going to be fun. Speaking of not fun, we've got a mini cannon over here, and we can't really get more than one artillery within its range. That's, I mean, out of its range. Oh, that's annoying. Fortunately, though, we will have this here. Now, if Lash's bombers go for my battleship, that could be very bad. Hopefully, she goes for my main land force. As you can see there, she has captured a base there. It's not really going to be that much of a threat, and I think if I put my mind to it, I can actually take that pretty quickly. Her copter is going for my my infantry on the island, isn't it? Wow, they really were evil. But anyway, now, something you might notice here is that those battleships there have no ammo, because they're in for repairs after all, and to represent that, they have, oh great, one of my artillery is getting hit. You know what, I have this feeling I'll say it's not worth it. I reckon I should pull back that artillery and attack later, because I don't want to risk it getting bombed. You need to keep your artillery alive, because they are, honestly. And guess past me didn't get the memo. Yeah, you need to keep your artillery alive, because if you don't, you lose your main, source of attack against those battleships, which is going to be annoying. Speaking of those battleships, like I said, they're out of ammo. However, remember I was saying that Lash's base there isn't going to be that much of a problem? You probably want to take it back, and I'm just going to have to target saturate this thing, honestly, I found. You know, I don't think I played the best here, I'll be honest with you. I don't think I had the excuse of being sick this time, but what I... Well, I didn't have the excuse of being sick, but I did... I don't know, maybe I was freaked out by the difficulty rating. I know that I probably did have at least several attempts of failed recordings at getting the S rank here, but, yeah. Now, like I'm saying, you might want to take this base back as soon as you can. The reason being... Now, for narrative purposes, Lash's battleships here have no ammo to represent the fact that they're in for repairs. Unfortunately, though, yep, this isn't like hard-coded, they can never have ammo. You see, and see what I told you, despite the fact that Jess's battleships are kind of weak, they still do enough to do 50% to those things. But anyway, okay, just like I was saying, gonna need another one of those, actually, probably. But yes, that base. Now, they are programmed so that they can never have ammo. That's a bit of a problem. You see, if Lash manages to get an APC... Oh, she did hit the bomber, great. I mean, not bomber, stupid me. She did hit the, artillery with the bomber. Okay, that's very bad. I should have kept that alive. If I had kept that alive, this mission would have been... I probably should have just retreated and waited for the bomber to come to me. I know that... Yeah, the fact that, you're on a time limit here means that you... It takes a lot of turns to actually take those battleships out, and you do want to rush there as fast as you can, but if you rush too much, then, and I really don't think I needed missiles. These anti-airs are probably enough to take these things out. But, anyway, you're going to need to take out at least, oh, and anything that direct combats that mini-cannon is going to, get owned, but, oh well. Of course, Jess's anti-airs are 10% stronger than normal, which means you can do quite a lot of damage to those bombers. Wow, they still do that much in return? Didn't expect that, but anyway. I can actually hit this transport and kill 2 units with 1 stone. I mean, 1 anti-air shot. That's actually probably not a bad idea. Helps for the power ranking. But anyway, like I was saying, if Lash manages to get an APC out of that base, kill it! Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it! Kill it as fast as humanly possible. Because, yeah, if... Oh, and I'm interrupted. Yep, we finally got this map. and that infantry is going to die. Unfortunately. So, yeah, we've got a map now. Oh, yeah, they really are. If they hit the map all the way over there. It's kind of funny. You probably would have a much easier time getting an S rank on this mission if you ignore the map. But what that results in is it means that you lose out on getting the lab mission, and that means that you miss out on one mission, and that will hurt your overall campaign ranking. So overall, it is better to go for the lab missions when you can. Yeah, kind of want to clear off this base and make sure that she doesn't get any APCs out there, because, again, if she gets an APC to those battleships, she can resupply them. Yes, she can. And if she does that, you might as well restart, because, having those battleships being able to fire on you, you're basically screwed. You're pretty much completely screwed. And by the way, I'm speaking from experience here. I actually had that happen to me once. Yep, it's exactly as painful as you'd think. Yeah. For those of you who can't tell, this mission is annoying, and I have a bit of an annoying history with it. Medium tank decoy once again. Oh, okay, you're not running away. Good, they're still in range of that anti-air. I do not want to risk that bomber being repaired, because that could be pretty bad. Those infantry are most likely going to die, but at least they got the lab map, and that's all that really matters. Okay, good, she's not making an APC. Brilliant! Yeah, again, trust me when I say this, I actually have had her get an APC to the battleships once. Painful is an understatement. Yeah. But anyway, bomber down, and soon our units will be within range of hitting those battleships. Good thing that, yeah, that those rockets can't get out of cannon range, annoyingly, but, or I could decoy. See, decoy tactics are actually pretty useful here. Again, the cannons always target the most expensive unit that's in their range, and by making good use of decoys like that, you can make sure that your rockets get through the cannon fire unscathed. Again, they will always target the medium tank over the rockets, so your medium tanks actually make pretty good decoys here. Capture this, even though I don't really need it. Got a second battleship coming in, or third, as the case may be. I've kind of lost count. But missiles, just in case. Good thing they gave you a lot of roads here. Jess's tyre-based units do appreciate wide open roads. I mean, Jess does do quite well there. And, in fact, there are a few things about Jess that I haven't quite talked about. I mentioned earlier that her super is... Wow, I only just realised that I actually forgot to mention the most unique thing about Jess's super that I actually didn't even mention before. Okay, that's really weird, and I'm kind of annoyed that happened. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead, skip ahead in the video, and see if I did use her super later on. Turns out I do use her super, spoiler alert, and pretty soon at that. What? Oh, my decoy strategy failed. Okay, so they will go for higher HP units over lower ones. Oh, wow, that's annoying. That's really annoying. I thought that tactic would work. Oh well, at least 7 HP rockets are still more than enough to prove a threat to those battleships. You do want to make sure that you've got some anti-airs to protect your indirects though, because if she gets copters down or hell forbid bombers down there, well, your indirect units aren't gonna like that. Let's just say, and she has another bomber. Speaking of which. You might notice that she just joined a few of her battleships there. Now, I believe if you fail this mission, which believe me, a lot of first-time players do, the sort of encouraging dialogue that you get basically hints that the enemy joining battleships is going to make things a lot easier for you. And yes, it does. It means that you have less targets to take out, so it is kind of helpful for that reason. The problem is, though, if you let the enemy start joining battleships, yeah, there is a bit of a problem with that. The problem being that it actually really impacts your power score, because it means there's less potential units for you to take out in one turn. You see, the power score would normally be really easy if it weren't for that. What you do is you just damage all of the battleships, but not actually destroy them, and then take a whole bunch of them out in the final turn. Just take them all out and, hey, power score. But the problem with that is that she's going to join them if you start heavily damaging them enough. and again, that completely hampers those attempts at the power score. I believe I didn't quite get the best power score on this one, and that's probably the reason. It is a little tricky due to the fact that the AI is very join happy with those battleships, and 6 stars, wow, and I still took them out. That's actually pretty awesome. I'm going to want to cover that up just to make sure she doesn't get any APCs out. It's quite rare that her AI does decide to make an APC, but if it does, you'd better be ready to... And in hindsight, making a... in hindsight, doing that was kind of not that good. Now, you might be wondering why I'm basically leaving that infantry over on near the factory map. And just letting them die, basically. Well, if I had run them with the lander, my own battleships would be in danger of that helicopter, and that would be very bad. So, also, she's sending a helicopter over to the island. Don't worry, if she takes back that city, you don't lose the lab map, so don't worry about that. Once you've got it once, you don't have to worry about it ever again. Now, another overdrive, and with this, I should mention the other effect of the power that I forgot to mention the first time, but good thing I used it twice here. In addition to boosting their firepower and increasing their movement range by 2 spaces, by 2 spaces, Jess's super also refills the fuel and ammo of all units. And yes, all units, not just vehicles. It actually applies to everything, even those battleships, and that's actually why Jess's battleships are actually pretty good in this mission, because normally you'd have to worry about them running out of ammo, but you don't really. When you use her superpower, they're all totally resupplied, and the fact that Jess's resupply applies to all units, not just her vehicles, actually makes her a lot more versatile than you probably think. Her Air and Navy don't have as big of a firepower reduction as Eagle and Drake's weak units do. So again, she's probably the most versatile of the 3. And again, that resupplying kind of helps. It's kind of funny though, because in Days of Ruin, the resupplying on superpower effect was actually given to Greyfield or Sigismundo if you live in Europe like me. Well, I don't actually live in Europe, but for some reason Australia gets is counted as Europe when it comes to games, which is kind of weird. But in practice, what it means is we don't get stuff, and America gets all the good stuff, except Xenoblade Chronicles. And actually, we recently got Bravely Default before America did, which I've actually just been starting playing recently. But I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent there. So, resupply, yeah, so kind of amusing that Sigismundo / Greyfield got Jess's power effect. It's interesting, but I also believe that it had a much cooler name in the European version than it did in the American version. I believe it's just called something really mundane, like Supply Chain in America, but I believe it's called, like, High Command in Europe, which is kind of much better, but still. Not that Total... like him needs a cool sounding power name, but still. Anyway, we're kind of progressing this. We only have 5 turns left, and I'm going to have to take out those battleships. Now, I may have said before that time-based missions usually tend to give you the perfect speed score regardless. This one actually does not follow that rule. As you might notice, I'll just say this now, when I finish this mission, I actually get a very slightly less than perfect score on speed, which means that, if you want to actually get a perfect speed score, you actually need to do this faster than the game wants you to, which is actually, yeah, even more annoying. So, this is an annoying mission all round, because you kind of got to rush, but sometimes rushing really leads to stupid mistakes, and I've made my fair share of stupid mistakes in this mission, I will definitely admit. Again, I've made a lot of dumb mistakes in this run, so those of you following this one, you might not want to be as dumb as I was a few times, but again, this mission actually puts quite a lot of pressure on you psychologically with the high difficulty level, the fact that you sort of have to rush, and it's kind of annoying that way, in that it sort of makes itself artificially harder by, again, psychologically making you think it's harder than it actually is. It's a really weird mission, actually, now that I think about it, but again, its main difficulty lies in psychological reasons. It's sort of odd, but... Anyway, so, that thing there. Okay, not in range. I can safely probably move my rockets up, and you can... Wait. I think we're relatively close to being done here. I've got a lot of indirects in range of the battleships. I've got 2 of my own. I will say you definitely do need your own battleships. This mission is actually virtually not possible without them. And again, I'm leaving that lander there because it's useless to me, and staying there, at least it can, 1, distract the copter, and 2, act as power meter fodder for me. So, it's quite expensive, so the more that copter hits it, the more power meter I accumulate. So, that's actually kind of nice, and Lash has gone with her super 3 times in this one mission. Oh, right. Yeah, that's the reason. Those freakishly expensive battleships are to blame, obviously. The fact that, yeah, you basically are forced to destroy them means that Lash is going to be gaining her super meter at a freakishly good rate. Oh, wow, be thankful that you weren't facing Ada here, because if you were, he'd probably get his super more than 5 times, I reckon. And yes, that copter is going there, but don't worry, if you lose the city the lab map was in, you don't lose the lab map, so again, don't worry. You know, it's actually kind of funny, because ironically, if Jess was on the side with the repairing battleships, she could just use one of her powers and fully resupply them. By the way, her normal power fully resupplies all units just the same as her super does, so both of them do that. So it's actually kind of a nice effect. Now, yeah, in several ways, Jess does seem kind of similar to Max, but I wouldn't go as far as to call her a total clone of Max, because again, despite the fact that her powers are very similar in some of their main effects, and a lot of her specialty units are similar. She specializes in tanks, which Max kind of has good tanks, but they do have their differences. Again, Max has good direct units on everything, so he's got the better air force than she does. However, Jess has the advantage when it comes to indirect units. And overall, I feel that means that while Jess's overall firepower boost isn't as big as Max's is, I feel that Jess is actually more versatile overall, in that she's got the bonus to both direct and indirect vehicles. And yeah, what that means is that, again, like I said, she's probably more versatile than Max is. Max's main weakness is the fact that he's kind of, well, not versatile. My mind struggled to come up with an opposite for versatile there. I honestly don't know why I made a lander there. I must have derped again, but still. Like, his main weakness is the fact that, yeah, he's only really got one real trick that he can do. Smash things with direct combat units. He's pretty bad on defense. Jess, on the other hand, is actually quite decent in both regards. And again, the fact that her resupply applies to all units, not just vehicles, also goes a long way to making her air and navy. Despite the fact that they're weaker firepower-wise, it does go a long way into making them... Oh, crap, that's bad. At least I got missiles. Again, though, Lash's air units don't benefit from any of her abilities, so her air force is technically a bit on the weak side, even though it's still average, but just keep that in mind. Once again, letting my lander get hit as power fodder, even though that thing's going to go down soon. Why aren't you unloading? Kind of weird, I don't know why she's doing that, but anyway. Okay, hopefully though, I probably should be finished this turn. So, one more overdrive. Wow, 3 supers in one map. That's actually pretty good. Didn't know if I've done that before, but that's actually pretty nice. So, hopefully I should be able to... Oh, out of range, okay. And if I hit you, hopefully my other indirects will be able to take out that last battleship. You... How much are you going to take? Okay, wait a minute. Is there a chance I might need one more turn? There is a slight chance I may need one more turn. You know what? I probably should have timed the super and done it differently, but still. And we've got a bomber running rampant among us. That's not good. In fact, what I really should be doing is don't do that. Yeah. Oh, not quite enough movement to get through. Yeah, I was actually a bit stupid with my technique ranking in this one. I let a few units get destroyed. Now, if past me has any sense, he will join those 2 medium tanks. Join. I believe they're not going to do that, though. I don't think he's going to do it. And in fact, he's going to do something even dumber. Nah, that's not going to take out that battleship. You know what's kind of funny? When I recently watched a Let's Play of Advance Wars 1, apparently tanks can't shoot battleships in that game. I mean, can't shoot naval units. I mean, admittedly, their attacks against naval units are pretty pathetic anyway, so then it's not like they're going to do much other than just finish off a 1 HP one. But still, oh, that bomber's going to kill something, isn't it? Yeah, I was not the best on my technique score here, I really wasn't. So overall, this mission wasn't my best showing, and I can blame psychological factors if you want, but... And again, because you're very limited in the number of bases you have, you can't really do the whole spam infantry in the last turn to jack up your technique ranking strategy. Nah, that's not gonna... Oh, now you're just adding insult to injury. Come on, survive. No! Oh, damn it! Yeah, I lost one to the bomber. And I'm going to lose this, aren't I? Yes, you did your job. You did your job well. You got that lab map, but unfortunately, now you are gone. And speaking of gone, this battleship here is going to get sunk harder than Grit sunk his own ship with Nell. Yep, I had to say something like that eventually. And I can't believe I've gone this far without making any You Sunk My Battleship references, but at least I guess I'm kind of glad I did that. But yes, battleships down. Yep, we've achieved our goal. Let's get the hell out of here, because those bombers are going to be really annoying. So yeah, we kind of got a feel for how Jess really plays in this. So yeah, that's enough for now. But yeah, you get her and Drake talking there, but Eagle's not actually here, so interesting. Again, how nice it is to have a more comedic character as our enemy this time. Uh-oh, I have a feeling we're going to witness an explosion soon. Yep. Huge, gigantic explosion visible from space, most likely. But, my overall ranking was not that good here. Only barely made S rank. My speed was just a little off perfect. Maybe one more turn and I would have done perfect. Technique was a little off perfect, again. Being a bit less callous, and I could have got that. Power, that was the big issue here. So, didn't do that well on this mission, but at least it's done, and at least we have the lab mission. So, I'll see you next time for that one.